And also, it's that most people listen to podcasts on audio, don't they? So really, they're not. This is only an added bonus that we've got the video.
Yeah, and podcast is an audio first medium. And even if it wasn't, even when you watch videos on YouTube, like the only way you're knowing what's going on, unless you're reading this, putting it on silence and reading captions, is
listening.
The sound.
Yeah.
So if your sound's crap, then
it's more important. It's more important what you sound like than what you.
Yeah, and look, each to their own. There's stages to like how complicated you make this process, but I see a lot of people putting a lot of effort into the cameras. And then they're recording it on like a really shitty, like a clip-on mic, like a £5 clip-on mic. And it's like, well, you've got a £1,000 camera and you've got a £5 clip-on mic.
Yeah.
Your video's going to look amazing, but your sound's going to be pretty shit.
And that's the point of a podcast, is the sound.
To me, yeah, like I said, everyone can do it their own way. And there's nothing wrong with using a clip-on mic. If that's your upgrade to your phone, then amazing. Yeah, that's the next step, and that's great. So yeah, for me, sound is...
I'm a bit of a visual person. I like to look at stuff.
I like both.
Yeah, I do like both.
Which is why I'm...
Yeah, but I mean, that's the point. So I would always like, whenever I don't really listen to these back. I watch them on YouTube more than I listen. Unless I'm in the car, obviously. But yeah, I like to...
That's true. I'll put it on the telly and watch it on the telly while I'm stretching.
God, we must look massive.
Yeah, it's really massive.
The size of that telly.
I'm like, oh, I need to like zoom out a bit or do this.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
It's just the zoom is a bit real.
But no, we're done. We're set up. I think this is the fastest I've ever set up for a podcast.
Amazing.
Yeah, I know. I'm getting better at it.
So it's so good. You were like, well, if I don't have the kids today, it could have been a good day. I'm like, well, let's do it. Is it not a good day? I'll cancel my plans.
This just goes to show, right? Like anything that, for me, doing this is fun.
Me too.
So when you were like, well, can we not do it today? I was like,
yeah, actually, yeah.
You up for it? Yeah, let's do it.
I literally cancelled everything. And when you sent me that message, like, obviously my kids have just gone to Cornwall for 8 days. I'm very excited about that. But I'm still in a little bit of a very tired, had a lot going on funk with them. And I was just getting up to go to the gym and I knew that would make me feel good. But as soon as I saw your message, something just made me like instantly lift out of whatever funk I was in. I was like, oh my God. So this is what I need to be doing with my life.
It's your physiology telling you something, right?
Yeah.
That's your hormones and your endorphins and your neurotransmitters all coming out.
Like this is, and I do want to do more of that. I did put this on my Instagram the other day. I was like, right, I've said goodbye to my kids for 8 days and I'm only available for things that I really want to be available for. And genuinely, that's how I want to live my life.
Yeah. Well, today is a very rare day because this is obviously the summer holidays, but Fridays are normally my day to myself.
Is it Friday today?
It's Friday today, yeah.
No.
And today Kai's gone to nursery, but Lily was normally at home, but she's gone to camp, so she's away.
Nice.
She's out the house till 5. Anisha's gone to work, so today was like my one day. I was like, oh, I can't wait. What should I do today? And I was like, right, I'm going to edit. I had loads of things planned to do, but then when you were like, I only want to do things that really align with me, and I was like, well, I bet she wants to record a podcast, and here we are. Amazing.
I love it.
So yeah, we're recording.
We haven't even prepared or planned. What are we going to talk about?
We never prepare or plan.
That is true.
It's always a shit show.
It's the best kind.
Yeah, it's the best
I saw this thing on Instagram the other day that said, I don't like to prepare what I'm going to say. I like to be as surprised as everyone else what comes out of my mouth. And I'm like, yes, that's me.
That is true. Especially with podcasts. Like, for example, when you came in just now, like we started chatting and I was like, no, stop talking.
Yeah.
Because like we haven't seen each other for however long you've been away, a couple of weeks, more than that. And I thought, if we just start talking now, then there'll be nothing to say. So I want to save it all for here. So
it is true. Whenever we're together, actually, when we're talking, I do think we shouldn't be talking about this because this is prime podcast.
I think we should only from now on have conversations.
When we're recording them.
If I see you on the street, I'm just going to ignore you.
No, rather than that, just if I see you on the street, I'm going to talk to you, but I'm going to record it at the same time.
Right, okay. Are you going to do that? Your voice note podcast.
Imagine
series.
That's how you went. I did do that though. And I realised, because obviously my online course is done, yeah? And I've been what have I done? I recorded something. It was a bit of my podcast. I recorded it, the intro to my podcast, while I was driving. And I did think to myself, the sound quality is going to be shit. But you know, Amanda Francis, the money queen, yeah? She literally, the audio quality on her podcast it would make you turn in your grave. It's shocking. She's a fucking multi-millionaire selling out courses like regs. So I'm like, mate, if I get inspired when I'm driving on my car, I'm going to record that shit.
To be fair, I think you're spot on. Speed of implementation, getting it done.
Yeah, getting it done.
Getting it done is the hardest thing that
so true.
The world seems to have the biggest problem, right? Getting anything done, right? Whether it's
so true
doing your laundry or doing, whatever, doing the cleaning, whatever it is, washing the car. Like, I've got to wash the
Getting up in the
Do you know how many
morning.
times I've driven past the car wash? I'm like, oh yeah, I need to go in the car wash.
Yes,
Right? It's just
why
get
do we
it
do
done,
that?
right? It's procrastination.
Oh,
So
the bane of my life.
you saying I wanted to record a podcast, and like, you know what? Fuck it, I'm going to just record it on my phone, and I'm going to use that. That's amazing. Like, watch Mel Robbins. You know Mel Robbins,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So a lot of her stuff is just.
Yeah, it's just
Her
random.
podcast is now a bit more professional, but even in her podcast, her intros to her podcast, which is recorded in the studio, but her intro, she'll be recording while she's on a hike on her phone.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, so she'll record the intro. Today's podcast, I'm going to speak to Lisa, blah, 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 and then the professional bit will come in after she's done her intro. So
Exactly.
actually, it's just getting it out
I
there.
do think so, because you know what? A lot of the time whenever I'm in the car, I'm listening to an audiobook, or I'm like, just in my own little, I'm not stressing about stuff. It's when my inspiration comes.
Yeah.
When that inspiration comes, I want to get it down, because otherwise I'm like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. And I'm constantly writing myself notes, talk about this, say that. And then I never do it, because later on the inspiration's gone and it's just like not a thing then. So I need to, just bloody do it.
Get it out there.
Just bloody do it.
Yeah, and that's kind of, I'm trying to adopt that strategy with a lot of the work that I'm doing for obviously our podcast and Anisha's podcast and my clients as well. It's just, whether it's video editing or photo editing, just get it done. Right?
Yeah,
get it
just
out there.
do it.
But it's not that I'm going to do a shoddy job of it.
Yeah.
But you could
You
spend,
are a bit of a perfectionist.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and I am. And I'm aware of that. And that's something, this is my way of trying to work on it, right? It's
Mm.
just like, just put it out there.
Yeah.
So the last podcast I did with Anisha, I was just procrastinating on a few things. I was like, I'll just get it out there. And I got it out there, and it's fine, it's great. And I watched it back and I was like, oh, you know what? I should have done this with whatever it was. And that's great, but that's a learning point for next time. And,
Yeah.
and I'm not beating myself up like, oh, why didn't I do this? I should have done that.
And everything is learning. I
Yeah.
did think about this earlier. What did I think about? About today, thinking this is what I want to be doing with my life. Don't you just love the fact that every day is a new learning experience? I love that, because now I'm like, right, clearly this gives me more joy than any of the other shit that I was just about to go and do. I'm not saying that I don't have to still do hard stuff, but do you know what I mean? You're still learning, always learning. Oh, yeah, and what else I was going to learn? When we were talking in the kitchen about the all-inclusive holiday that I've just been on, right?
Okay.
So I knew from years ago that I'm not really an all-inclusive kind of person. But when you've got kids, and obviously I took the kids away on my own, I was like, it's going to be the best vibe for me, because it's just safe environment. Like, I don't have to explore if I don't want to. It's all there. And 3 days in, I got cabin fevered. I was like, I can't, too much. Just in the same place with the same atmosphere. Like, I just was like, oh, no, I can't do it. I got cabin fevered.
What would you rather be doing?
Well, we went on an excursion.
Okay.
Most incredible day ever. So I feel like and that's what I learned. I'm okay in an all-inclusive resort, but I can't stay in there for longer than a couple of days. I need to go out. I need to do things. I need to explore. And we did. And it was amazing. So it's just a little bit of a balance,
Yeah.
right?
Well, you got the best.
The
of both
cabin
worlds.
fever was real.
Yeah.
God, yeah.
But isn't it, so it's interesting because you do a lot of meditation and sitting still and just being with your thoughts. Isn't that so to me, I would have thought, well, that's a perfect opportunity to practice that.
Oh, God, absolutely.
Right.
But don't forget, I've got 2 children that are constantly wanting my attention, and I'm a good meditator, but Jesus Christ, you just can't when you're constantly being interrupted. The thing that I did wrong was I didn't discover the kids' clubs immediately and try and make them some friends. That's what I should have done. I should have tried to make them some friends so that they could have gone and done stuff, but they constantly wanted my attention, which was annoying, and they were just fighting with each other. Do you know what I mean? So there were moments, don't get me wrong, every moment I was on my own, it was a journaling, meditating expedition, apart from 24 hours in when there was always drinking involved. I did try, Sunjay. I tried. 24 hours I lasted, and I was like, give me the beer, just give me a beer.
You don't drink. You don't drink.
I don't
in the
drink
UK.
in the UK.
Yeah, there you go.
I did go to, I just don't drink. Before I went, I was like, I just actually don't need it in my life. I don't even think I'm going to have a drink in Turkey. Actually, this is amazing. One day in, I was like, this is boring. Give me the alcohol.
Plus, it was like 50 degrees.
Yeah, it was 47 degrees.
So what was that? So the heat wave was real then.
The heat wave was real. Literally, the pool thermometer said 47 degrees one day. I was like, wow, that's quite hot. But the best thing about it is that I survived all of that. And then it went down to like 37 degrees. And I obviously thought, I know, was it like 35? No, I think it was about 37, 38. I thought, oh, I'm immune. So I got sunburn. But yes, I am always everything I do in life is about journaling, meditating, and that's how I get myself out of all sorts of funks. And I was doing that. And I did a couple of Instagram posts actually when I was there about the fact that I felt bad. Honestly, Ola Deniz, where we went in Turkey, the scenery is insane. Like there's paragliders that just absolutely beautiful. We had a private beach attached to our hotel. Like it was amazing. I was on a holiday that I have managed to get, do you know what I mean? With my 2 children, I'm a single mum, like I'm on this holiday for 10 days, an all-inclusive resort. I should feel so lucky, which I did, genuinely, but there was times where I was just like, I'm bored and I'm not enjoying it because, you know, I'm on my own. And so I had to do a lot of work to kind of, you know, journal gratitude. And I sort of said, look, I feel guilty for not feeling insanely over the moon all the time. Do you know what I mean? It only took me a couple of days, then the alcohol kicked in. But like to actually, I just wanted to talk it through. I needed my people. I needed my Instagram when I was there. I needed to be WhatsApping people and just being like chatting because, you know, I'm a massive extrovert. I vibe off of people. And when you're on your own, do you know what I mean? With the kids.
You must have made some friends there in the resort.
I did, but not again. It wasn't, this is the other hard thing, right? Although I'm a very outgoing person, I'm still a little bit shy and I'm an overthinker. So I wouldn't want people to think that I was like annoying. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So it's really difficult for me to find a balance between chatting to people and then going, oh, what are you doing later? Can I come?
See,
do you know what I mean?
I think like that
really
as well.
hard.
I think we know this, we're very similar. But I think like that as well. But I'm married to someone who doesn't.
Oh, she don't give a shit.
And she doesn't care about that, right?
Care.
So what you just said...
I want some of what Anisha's got.
What you just said there about you don't want people to think that you're annoying is exactly what I think. And I also think that of her. I'm like, people are going to think you're annoying when you just leave them alone. But she doesn't care because she doesn't think like that. It's not on her radar. To her, it's like, what in the right mind is anything annoying about what I'm doing? She just doesn't see it. And sometimes I think that's such a beautiful bliss to live in, but sometimes it's a bit dangerous, right?
Yeah, but
no, I mean dangerous in the sense that she doesn't see danger in other situations.
Because we are the opposite, aren't we? Anisha just doesn't care. She'd just be like,
no, she doesn't.
But I love that. I want more of that. But we are too self-aware. We're like,
yeah, it's something that it's.
It's so.
But
funny.
I'm going to flip it because there are situations where she'll be doing that kind of carrying on like as if without a care in the world, and I'm like, hold on a minute, that like we have to think about this. So I'll tell you where this conversation came up was putting the kids on social media. Right, so we obviously been putting we're posting videos and on Instagram and wherever, YouTube, and there's a few times we've got to put Lily and Kai's face on there, and I know a lot of people, they block their kids' faces out and all that stuff. So again, each to their own, everyone can do what they want. But I sat and had a conversation. I was like, we got to think about this, like because maybe I saw a post by someone. And it was a popular social media influencer, whatever you want to call them, and they share their entire life with their family, and that mother was talking about it and the dangers of it. And then I started talking to Anisha about some of the dangers of it. She had no clue. She's like, no, that stuff doesn't happen. I was like, watch this video. Right, so we watched this lady. It was not very nice things that people do on social media, and she just wasn't aware. So I feel like, so yeah, I definitely want a bit more. It's one extreme and the other, and I think sometimes my mind goes to the extremes.
Yeah, mine does.
It'll go to the extremes.
All or nothing.
Same as there was a podcast the other day, Stephen and Mo Gaudat, and Mo was talking about AI and the dangers of AI, and he was going to the very extremes of what AI could potentially do for humanity, right? And it's really quite scary. And
I can't listen to stuff like that.
But that's how my mind, I want to listen to stuff like that. I'm like, because you know what? It validates the way I think. It's like, yes, I'm not the fucking crazy one.
Oh.
Somebody else is thinking the same things as I'm thinking. Right?
But see, I used to be like that. Literally, me and you are the same person. And I used to be like that. And I had to train myself out of it because otherwise I would never get anything done. I was just walking around just fearful of everything. Like a prime example, when I was away, one of the excursions that we did, I took the kids on a Jeep safari, and basically you go on this open top kind of transit van.
Yeah.
It's got roll cages in it, and we're given water guns, and you're having a water fight the whole time with yourself and with the other safari people. It was insane.
Inside the van?
Inside the van. It was all open, but like, so when there's another Jeep safari van going, we're
right.
water fighting with them as well. It was insane, so good. And then we went to different excursions. One of them was a mud bath. There was waterfalls. It was just the best day. But it culminated in us in a canyon with a river rapid, right? And I sent, bearing in mind I'm on my own with 2 kids, we did make friends with this guy, bless him. He was lovely. Dexter, the kids called him Dennis. Apparently they couldn't pronounce Dexter. They're just so rude, these kids. They just do whatever the hell they want. Yeah, and so I went down in a rubber ring with Georgia tied to me. Right, she was in a rubber ring, I was in a rubber ring tied together. And I was like, obviously she needs a life jacket. She's only just learning to swim. Ernie, on his own, he can swim, but like, you know, he's not like an Olympic swimmer and he's never had lessons. We've just taught him and it's kind of doggy paddle style, whatever. In a rubber ring on his own, no life jacket. It was only like, you know, knee height water. But in my mind, I was just like, there's no health and safety in Turkey. They give 0 Fs, mate. They're just like, yeah. In my mind, it'd be all right. Oh my. He'd capsized twice. He lost a shoe. He lost his hat. He lost his paddle. I capsized and got 4 people just barged into me while I was trying to help him. Honestly, it was insane. And I spoke to Paul, like their dad, and I was like, Paul, I very nearly killed one of your children. And he was laughing. He was like, Lise, do you remember when we went to Florida? So when Ernie was about 3, we were in Florida and we went on a kayak or a canoe or whatever on a perfectly still watered lake with manatees in it. The 3 of us in it all had life jackets and I was near on having a panic attack about that, right? Fast forward 6 years, Ernie just gets sent down in a river rapid without a care in the world and I'm just living my best life. That is what the difference is. Yeah. There's no other difference apart from the fact that I had to train myself out of my anxious thoughts because otherwise I was never achieving anything in life. Not that I'm saying that that's what you need to do, but I can't go there anymore.
I know exactly.
I'm literally like, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. I can't control that. I can control how I feel about and how I act about the things that are happening right now in my world.
I think that's the key, isn't it? The control, like what can you control, what is not in your control. And I think that's anxiety, isn't it? It's a fear of, it's a lack of control. It's not being able to control a given situation or an outcome.
Catastrophizing your thoughts and stuff.
Absolutely, yeah, and 100% I do that. But I'm getting a lot better at just letting go a little bit.
It takes a lot of training.
Having Lily really helped me with that because I started noticing me, and this comes from my parents because that's how they were. You know, if I would climb up on a wall and walk along it, right, the first response I'd get is, be careful, you might fall down, right? So that over and over and over and over again, of course, start thinking that way. So your mind goes to what's the most dangerous thing that can happen. And I noticed I started doing it with Liliana, and she was an innocent kid, you know, 2, whatever, starts walking around and wants to climb on things. I noticed it. First time I did it, I was like, oh shit, I'm making her anxious. So that's helped me to just let her go a little bit and let her be.
You've got to. Yeah, my kids are really good climbers, and people used to think my mum couldn't understand why I would be scared of like us falling off a cliff when we're nowhere near a cliff. Yeah. But then I'd let Ernie climb up some mad climbing frame on his own without a care in the world. But when I was like that, I always had the rule: you can only get up on things if you can get up yourself. Because if you can get up, you can get down. I'd never like pick my kids up and put them high. I'm like, no, if you can't get up, can't get down. And the other thing is I do it now. I assess the damage and think, right, if they fall from there, is it going to be a broken bone or is it going to be death? If it's not death, you're fine.
You're right.
Right?
Yeah.
Hospital's only kind of out, whatever.
Yeah, well, it's like in the
What's
park.
The worst that can happen?
They've got that climbing frame in the
Not the new one.
No,
that is a bit. Oh,
yeah, that's a bit.
Yeah, I know for Georgia as well. Yeah, it is.
I remember when Lily went on the first time, and she got kind of not even halfway, and she just backed off, and she's like, I can't do this, and I was a bit like, no, I was trying to encourage her.
Oh right.
So I was trying to not be the anxious dad. Then I got up there.
Like, yeah, you'll be fine.
I got up there myself
and shit yourself.
And wasn't far wrong. I was like, okay, I can see why you find this a bit scary. Come
and
down.
Gaps.
Yeah,
they can just fall straight through.
Yeah, that climbing frame scares me. But there's a new one's opened up now, and it's.
Is it open?
Yeah, it's open now. The park, down the road.
When the kids get back, we'll go.
Yeah, we've been in the skate parks. It's fun. Yeah, it's good. It's more. It's nothing for Kiki.
Oh really?
It's a bit older, bit more.
Yeah, but to be fair, I don't think parks are generally. He's only 1, isn't he?
I know. We can go on a little swing with a.
Oh yeah.
Thing like there's no. Anyway, it's fine. He still has a little play around there, but yeah, it's good. Yeah, you should go down there. I haven't been to the skate park yet. The BMX thing that they got, which is quite cool. So yeah, anyway, why do we get onto that? Anxiety?
Just, anxiety.
Yeah.
And it is anxiety. That is all it is.
Yeah.
I say this, I did generalized anxiety is basically what it is. It's what stops you from doing things. It's what freaks you out. Like, and the difference is insane. Now that I don't have that anxiety, don't get me wrong, it's still, I notice myself, like fear of flying, for example.
Right.
When my anxiety levels are up, every little noise on a plane will freak me out. And I did it on the way back because what do we know that causes anxiety? Certain chemicals that you eat, not a lot of sleep, alcohol for sure. On the way back from Turkey, it was a 4-hour flight and it was delayed for a bit. And for some reason, my iPad said one time, my phone said the other. I lost the plot a bit. 3 hours into the flight, I was convinced that we'd done 4 hours and that we should be landing. And the captain came out of his little cabin and started pressing buttons and talking to all the air stewardesses. All the lights were off because it was like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'd convinced myself that we were about to land but couldn't land, and there was something going horribly wrong. So I was sitting there, Ernie was watching the TV with me and Georgia was asleep, and I was inside having the biggest panic attack of my life, thinking we're definitely dying because there's no way the captain should be out now, we should be landing. Then he went back and I thought, all right, fine, maybe they're going to land now. No, the other one then came out and started mucking about with stuff. I was like, this is it, we're definitely going to die. And I spoke to the air stewardess and I was like, what's happening? What do you mean? I said, well, shouldn't we be landing now? And he went, no, we've got about another hour and 20 minutes left. And I was like, easy on it. He's lying. Honestly, this is where my brain went. Can you understand the difference
100%.
between anxious brain and non-anxious brain? Yeah. On the flight out there, there's no way any of these thoughts would have entered my head. Not one single thing. But because I was anxious, because I'd not slept and, blah, 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 been drinking alcohol, I literally convinced myself that we were going down, mate. It was bad times.
I really...
Thank God it didn't happen.
Being a bad flyer, that's one thing that has always, I've had a little bit of a fear of, but I've worked on it massively. And I think what massively helped was I used to train pilots for Emirates when I lived in Dubai. So I used to talk to a lot of them about...
Train as in physical fitness, yeah?
Yeah, I was a PT.
Not as in a flight simulator.
No, yeah, I'm a pilot.
I used to train pilots to fly planes.
No, like fitness.
Oh, amazing.
So I used to train them and I used to talk to them about this. And they were just like, mate, they'll tell, obviously they would say this, but they would explain to me why you've got nothing to worry about on a plane. And actually the thing that convinced me the most was like, he's like, you can't do anything. He's like, you might,
exactly.
Like you literally talking about control, right? He goes, you just have to tell yourself that you have zero control.
Absolutely.
If anything goes wrong, you are not in control. So like, you kind of have to take that.
It's pointless worrying because actually...
And that's how I get, like, every time I'm on the plane, I'm about to get on a plane, I kind of do those mantras and affirmations or whatever you want to call them, just to let myself know. And do you know, it works.
Absolutely.
I just chill out and just... Even when it's bad turbulence, I'm just like, well, it is what it is. It's fine. And
honestly,
again, now that I know what turbulence is and what causes it and why sometimes it's so bad, and again, having spoken to those pilots, it really, really helped. But I feel you on that one.
But I think you've hit the nail on the head, and this is my life now. There's nothing you can do. I genuinely believe that there's nothing you can do about it. If you're going to get hit by a bus tomorrow, if you're going to, get cancer and die within 3 months, there's nothing that you can do until you can do something, right? So walking around now in fear of absolutely everything doesn't mean it's not going to happen. It just means that you're worrying about it before it happens. And then when it happens, you'll deal with it in a completely different way anyway. If something bad were to happen, something would take over and you would just deal with it. But walking around worrying about it before it happens is basically just taking away any bit of joy that you've got.
Brains just constantly...
Yeah, of course.
Why can't we use the energy that our brains generate to power our houses or something? Because I feel like people that are like us,
they do.
Our brains are just constantly
I think it's a lot of people, but the difference is we're aware of it and now we know how to deal with it and we're working on it, right? Yeah. Because it is just that thing. And don't forget, some people's brains don't work like ours, and good luck to them. But that's the whole thing. And that is honestly the biggest thing for my mental health has not been the amount of meditation and mindfulness and even what the chemicals that I stopped eating and all of this sort of stuff. The biggest thing for me has been like believing, having faith, right? That has been the biggest difference for me. I've worked on my mental health for a long time. I've done a lot of stuff. I've studied a lot. But the biggest missing piece for me was the faith in the fact that everything happens for a reason. I do believe that, and everything is just the way it is, right?
Yeah, well,
with the big picture stuff.
Well, it's because partly down to also manifestation, isn't it? It's like
Yeah.
you kind of like what you
focus on expands.
focus on, what you think about is becomes your reality, and it's
If we only get one chance at life, like, wouldn't you want to just have more fun?
Yeah.
Do more things that make you feel joy?
and and
Like, what are we all doing in life, actually? Not
That's
me.
why-
I literally am just
I think
wandering about doing the best.
that's why I go and play basketball.
Mm.
Right? It's like, it's fun for me. It's like, and I didn't play for years. Like, I just stopped playing. It's like you just stop having fun, right? And I'm not like a professional level. I was never going to
Not
make
very
it.
good though. I've seen them
Thank
Instagram
you,
stories.
But it was, I always, even when I was a kid, I just played because it was fun. And then I just thought, and then moving here, there's a court there, and I've had a ball for like, for all my entire life, but I never used it.
Why?
I don't know.
It's
I don't know.
true.
Because I always maybe thought, I've got nowhere to play, or like I've got no one to play with, or like, it's an effort to go out and get. And then I just walked past that basketball court every day. I was like, you know what? I'm going to come down here and throw my ball around. And I haven't stopped since. I mean,
Yeah.
going back all the time. And it's purely because it's just a bit of my day where I can have a real, just enjoy myself. Just unadulterated, just free, childlike
Why are we
joy.
not doing more of that?
Because society tells you that you can't have fun when you're an adult, or that's the kind of way that people portray the messages. Like, if and I've said this before on a podcast, where you think of like the kids, right? You got kids, so you're aware, you can relate to this, right? When your kids are really small, like Kai's age, all they do is play, right? He goes to nursery. I dropped him off to nursery there. I've seen the nursery. It's a massive empty space with like padded floors and like toys everywhere and like climbing frames and tunnels and all these sorts of things, right? And all they do is play, right? Now, when that kid gets to 4, 5, what does a classroom look like?
Yeah.
It's completely different. Chairs, tables, sit down, listen, don't talk to your friends. Do homework. Homework for 5. Lily was getting homework at 4. Homework at 4. I don't care if it's painting or send me a picture of what you did on holiday. The fact that you call it work takes the fun out of it, right? As soon as you call anything work, for a lot of people, it takes the fun out of it. So I just think that then you go to school, then you go to secondary school, or the next school, Bishopswood or whatever. What do they call that stage of school? Infant school, primary. School, yeah. You go to primary school and it gets a bit more stricter and a bit more orthodox and a bit more time management. You've got to do this. Then you get more homework, and then you go to high school, and then you go to uni, and uni probably you let go a little bit, but then you have to get a job, and suddenly it's like you're not supposed to be playing.
And
you're
what
supposed
are we teaching people? What are we teaching our kids? What are we actually bringing them up to understand about life and about themselves and about?
But that's down to us, isn't it? I feel like.
No, well, it is. But when you think about it,
I think, again, going back to control, right? Because I've gone on about this a lot about schools. And by the way, before we get into this, I am not saying anything wrong about the teachers, right? I know a lot.
No, it's not.
It's
the system.
Some really good friends who are teachers. I've got family members who are teachers,
up.
and most of the teachers are amazing. It's just the way the system works. The same with the medical system. It's not the doctor's fault. It's just the way that the system works, right? And I feel like if that's, again, I've got to the point where I'm like, I can't control that. And I could be one of these parents who lobbies and does all this, and maybe I will, maybe at some point. But right now, I'm just like, if I start doing that with my brain, like, I'm just going to end up in a negative space, right? Just telling people or trying to fight against a system that's not really going to change. Yes, you've got a voice. Well, I've got a voice, and I'll voice it. That's why I do a podcast, right? So I can say what I want. But so I just take that upon myself now. It's down, just like you talk about not wanting to be in an all-inclusive resort. Giving your kids the experience of going on excursions and whitewater rafting and nearly killing themselves, and that's all. Yeah, he will grow.
He's proud of himself for not dying.
He does, yeah. But yeah, so it's down to us to give them experiences, but also I think we can learn so much more from them.
Oh God, yeah.
About like how to have fun.
And that's the point. But we can learn so much more from them about anything, but we don't. As soon as it's like indoctrinated into us that we should be the teachers. We should teach them how. But look around. Do we think we've got that right? If realistically, now it's very different for me. But in my life before, would I want my children to end up like I have? Fuck no. Would I want my children to live in the life where you look around and see all of the lemmings just getting up and going to work and being miserable and going home? And we think that that's what we want for the next generation. That's madness. That's a literal madness. Why do we think that honestly, madness.
I agree. But then that's why it's down, again, it comes back to me as a parent to make sure that when she does get home from school, that there is an element of fun, or when we do go out in the morning to go to school, we try and make it fun. So we're not, like you said, these lemmings who are just walking around head down, in a trance.
I am not fun.
You're not fun.
I am fun in my own way, but I saw something that said your kids should laugh on average 35 times a day. I might have made that number up, but it was a lot, and I thought, I don't think they do, and I'm sad about that.
No, they probably do. You're being harsh on yourself. I think they probably do. No. There are probably days where they don't. You probably have moments. No, they do. They do have fun. But I think just learning from them, and like Kiki's now he's becoming a lot more fun, right? He's one now. He's not quite walking, but he throws a ball at me, and just that is exciting for me. I'm like, do you know what? I can't wait. And Lily, this is not something else I learned. I tried to make Lily the boy that I never had, right? But when she was growing up, like ball games and cars, and as you do, that's just naturally, because to me, play is what I know.
Yeah,
and it's playing like a boy, not playing like a girl, even though I had a sister. So she didn't really respond to all of that, and that's cool. I've let her become herself, and now she's become the most girliest girl you can ever imagine, and that's great, and that's cool. Whereas now with Kai, he's showing signs. You may not. He likes playing with his train set. He likes throwing a ball.
They naturally just do.
They naturally just kind of veer towards that. And obviously, I take him to the basketball court all the time, and he just sits there and watches me, and he loves it. So I'm like, I can't wait till he starts walking around and moving around, because I'm gonna play because it's fun for me, right? Yes, I want to make him happy and entertain him, but actually I'm like, this is an excuse. Having a baby or a child, doesn't matter what age, to be honest with you, is an excuse for you as an adult to have fun and not be questioned, right? Whereas if you did that on your own, right, you would be a creep. If I went into a kid's park.
I do love a zip line.
Exactly. If I went into a kid's park, right, where kids are playing on the swing. I like going on the swings. I'm not going to lie. I'm saying it now. I'm 44 years old and I like the swing.
I do like a swing.
Who doesn't like a swing, right? I love going on a swing.
But you wouldn't. What you're saying is that you're not going to walk into a park.
And so many times I've wanted to go on a swing before I had kids. Right, I want to go on that swing. It's so much fun. But if I walk into that park right now without a child and I start going on a swing and having a great time and then talking to the kids next to me, I'm fucking arrested.
Yeah, there was definitely big pedo vibes.
Right. So this is my point. Having a child means you can do those things without anyone questioning it. Right? Yeah. Okay. I still get weird looks because we talked about this. It's just me and being in the town like this, but. I'm over that. I'm good with it, right? So having Kai means I can go to the park, like the BMX park we just talked about. I want to get my bike, and I want to go on that BMX park.
You had kids basically just so that you could be a big kid.
No, I didn't want to have kids. Let's get that out of the way. We can have that conversation.
We love you, Lily and Kai.
Yeah, I love you.
But I think that's the difference between men and women, is that I'm not a fun. I want to have those fun experiences, but my head always goes to like all of the things that I've got to do. Do you know what I mean? And I don't. That's why now what I'm trying to do is find fun things that my kids like doing that I also like doing. That's the difference. Play with me, mummy. Your game is shit. Like, I don't understand what you've just given me a toy and said play with me. Be that. What? Fuck off. What are you talking about? That game is shit. That was a long time. And I was like, I don't want to be a crap mum, but your games are shit. Let's all find something that we like doing together. But I still haven't really found it.
I hear you, but then one day they're going to stop asking you.
Don't say that.
But they might.
Yeah, they will. Of course they will. And then I'll be sad. And then I'll think, all them times that I said, no, I don't want to play your shit games, I feel guilty now.
Listen, I'm the first one to say no to a shit game, right? I get it.
Give me a good game. I'm happy to play chess. I quite like basketball. I don't mind kicking a football about. But only when I can be bothered. I want fun games.
Have you ever played the shit games, the crap games? You just completely flat out refuse.
No,
I'm sure
I
you
did
have.
a little bit, yeah.
And what's their response?
No, I can't now. That we're going back too far. I can't get into it. Their response, they do love it.
They love it.
Yeah, but listen, do you know what I
love
do
it.
now? We've got this. Did I tell you about this last time? Well, how I turned my whole entire family around, and now I've stopped doing it again because, with me and probably with you, we find something that works amazingly and then we've just got to sabotage it for a while. It's special time. I read about this thing where you give your kids 5 minutes of your time unadulterated, like phones go away.
Yeah.
They're in charge. These are the things, right? They have to choose what, and you can't say no within reason, right? Mum, can I shoot you in the face with a bee gun? No, probably not. I don't know why my brain went there. My kids are savage, mate. They are savage. Yeah, so 5 minutes, they get to decide what to do, and you're not allowed to make suggestions or make the rules. You just have to go along with it. And then at the end of the 5 minutes, it's done. It's all you need, honestly. Yeah. It turns everyone around. It's insane.
You mentioned that to me not on a podcast, but yeah, and I've heard that from someone else, and I've tried it as well with Liliana. I was like, right.
Insane.
On these days.
Did it not turn your life around instantly? If it didn't, then you're doing it wrong.
Probably doing it wrong.
Doing it wrong.
No, but we dedicated Sundays were, we called it Triple D. Daddy-daughter day.
Oh,
yeah, it's fun.
Cute.
It was Lily's idea. It was her idea. It was her idea. And so when she promoted the idea of triple D, I was like, okay, this is great. And then instantly I started thinking of things I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Right? Naturally. And then I just thought, you know what? I'm going to let...
A whole day is a lot to do what
it was a lot.
5-year-old wants to do.
I didn't last the whole day. But I did on the first couple. I was like, right, the first half of the day, you get to choose. Or I'd actually let her choose. Like, do you want to be in charge in the first half of the day or the second half of the day?
All right.
And she chose whichever half, and then
was she fully in charge?
She was fully in charge.
And you weren't allowed to say no?
No.
And you weren't allowed to make suggestions?
No.
I don't believe you.
Yeah, no, I did.
It's too long. 5 minutes is all it takes. My kids, when the timer goes off, they're fine.
Yeah.
You know what it is? It's because kids, they don't get any time to be in charge of anything. They're constantly being told what to do. Yeah. So when they have 5 minutes where basically you're not allowed to make suggestions or say no, that is powerful for them. And it's all it takes is 5 minutes every day.
I tried to give her options and control in a lot of situations. Like, for example, going to school, right? I let her choose the route.
All right, yeah, that's nice.
So which way do you want to go? Do you want to go left or right now? Like, just like I'm going to follow you.
Yeah.
Or when we go for a bike ride, like you choose, you lead, you're in front, and I'll follow you. You should tell us which way we're going. Of course, if she does anything stupid and dangerous, I'll step in. But I let her be, and I'll let her. She'll be like, can I go? Like, we're at a junction, because I let her ride in the road. When we're at a junction, she's like, can I go? I'm like, well, you tell me. Is it safe? If you think it's safe to go, go. And if I think you've done...
if you die, then it'll be your fault.
Yeah. Again, I'm ready to... Luckily, I'm a bit faster than her. So, but things like that, I could just see in her, like, just her brain just going, oh, she's just... It's empowering, isn't it? Who doesn't who likes being told what to do all fucking day? I don't work for someone because I don't like being told what to do.
That's so true.
And I know you're the same.
I do not like being told what to do.
So having fun with them, I definitely am trying to embrace that more. And
I want to have more fun in life.
Who doesn't? And summer holidays, and they're all getting stir crazy and, sitting at home and Alicia's at camp this week, which is great, but we can't afford to send her.
My kids are away with their dad, mate. Divorce was the best thing I ever did.
Yeah, we talked about this last time, didn't we?
Don't jealous me.
About your single mum life.
It's insane.
Yeah.
I'm going horse riding later.
You're going horse riding?
I am.
Is that with Georgia or just on your own?
No, they're in Cornwall.
Oh, cool. Sorry, yeah.
I'm going on my...
good for you.
For me.
See,
I've decided... Fun. And you know why? This is what I was thinking about it earlier, and I was thinking, I've got no business doing everything that I do right now. I am a single mum. I've got no business with my own business. Like, I'm an entrepreneur, single mum. I've got no business going on all-inclusive holidays to Turkey and horse riding. And you know what? Sometimes you just got to live the life that you aspire to live before you're kind of comfortably there. Does that make sense? Like, I don't really know where the finances come from, but I just make it work. But the point is, if you're constantly living a life that makes you unhappy until you've got enough money to move to the next stage, then you're just forever stuck. Do you know what I mean?
There's always going to be another level. There's always going to be another level.
And you'll always find the ways. But when you go to that next level and start living the life, it doesn't necessarily have to be talking about money, but when you start living the life that you want to be living, then you work harder. you're more motivated to do the things that you need to do to get there. Like other than, I'll do that fun thing once I've got there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I know I'm not explaining myself very well, but
I mean, the perfect example is I'll have kids when I'm ready, when I've got money, when I can afford
don't
it.
have kids.
Yeah, let's not go.
Don't have kids.
I'll get married when I'm ready, or all of these things that people talk about in life, and it's one of those.
Never going to be ready.
Traveling. I'll go traveling around the world when I'm retired.
Oh my God, do it now.
Not make it
just
to retirement.
Do it now.
Yeah, just
quit
go
your
if
job
that's what
and
you
go.
want to do.
If you don't have kids and you're sitting in an office, just quit your job now.
What are you doing?
Tell your boss that you don't like him and go. Who cares?
So.
Oh my God, what life.
Have more fun, people.
Have more fun.
Doesn't matter what it is, right? And don't.
I'm there.
People will judge you if you walk into a park and they're a bit creepy and start playing on the swing.
Do that.
No,
I don't want pedos in my park.
No.
But
see,
how can we?
You just judge and said that an innocent man having a bit of fun is a pedo. That's sad, isn't it?
It's where my brain goes.
But that's not where your brain goes. It's where the world's everyone's brain goes there.
How can we stop? How can we be more Anisha, but not too much Anisha? Like when I was on holiday, how I did make a little bit of friends, but not. But the other thing is as well is that I tend to get on. I find it easier to talk to men than I do to talk to women, like strike up conversations, because I think sometimes I'm a bit about the banter and about the comedy, and I might strike up a conversation with you by saying, mate, you want to get that fucking ginger bald head out the sun, otherwise it's all going to go horribly wrong. Like, I couldn't do that to a woman because she'd probably scratch my eyes out, but the men take it well. So that's the other thing. When I'm on holiday as a single mum, I can't just go up and start randomly bantering with guys, because the wives will be thinking, who the hell are you and what? Do you know what I mean? There was always an element of that as well, is that I feel like I'm not interested in your, do you know what I mean? I'm not that vibe, but do you know what I mean? There was always that as well. So how can we be more Anisha in life?
Oh, I need to get Anisha here to talk about that. I mean,
yeah, we really
I've been married
do.
to her for 10 years and still struggling to become more like her.
I feel like we all need to be a little bit more Anisha, not too much.
Let's get her on here next time. We'll do
and
we'll
say,
do a three-way.
Anisha, how can we be more?
How we're going to fit that? And she can sit on the sofa with you.
Yeah. How can we care less about because that is the one single thing. I'm working hard and I'm going forward, but it's still there. It is still there. I still care what people think, or rejection.
Yeah, rejection.
And not rejection as in, will you be my friend? No, you're ugly, go away. But even the littlest bit of rejection, like, oh, when I put it out there to a group of my friends, does anyone want to do this? And no one wants to do it. That's hurtful.
Yeah, of course it is.
That's normal. That's, for me, rejection sensitivity is huge. Therefore, it stops me from doing things. It actually stops me from putting myself out there as much as I could.
Yeah, I can relate to that. Yeah, it's just rejection. This is a big topic, isn't it? But that comes back from a long way. But yeah, whether it's in the playground or even with parents, when we were younger, and whether your parents were around for you, and whether they they may have been around. It goes back to love language, right? What was your love language as a child? And maybe your parents. When I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about general. Like maybe someone's parents were giving you the love the way that they thought that they should give love, but actually your love language is different. You wanted something different. You might have been, acts of service or touch or whatever it might have been. So, rejection's a huge one. But I think Anisha doesn't care.
No, she doesn't care.
That's the thing. And I'm getting to the point where I'm saying that a lot more. But I know deep
not
down,
really feeling
I'm not 100% convinced of it. And I know that's from me, and that's something I need to work on. But like the story I talked about last time. Oh, by the way, did you have any racism problems on holiday? Did you get into all the restaurants you wanted to?
I was fine.
Yeah, you're fine. Yeah,
because I am,
well, it goes back to that conversation we had last time about what happened.
Oh my God!
You all
I
right?
just got a cramp right up in my groin. Oh my God, that was really painful. I thought my leg was going to pop out of its socket. Sorry.
What?
Let's cut that out. Oh my God!
You want to
how's your hip? Yeah, I have to put my leg down there.
What's I talking about? The
Racism.
races. Yeah, that's a form of rejection, isn't it? And you get rejection from society. I had a bit of feedback on that one. On our the little reel I put out.
Yeah.
Got like 20,000
really...
20,000 views, which is like amazing for a channel that's got like 2 followers.
No one knows we're here.
No one knows we're here. But there was loads of comments on that reel.
What were people saying?
People were saying, so the main thread was. There were people saying that why did you go back into the restaurant?
Yeah, that was my initial question, wasn't it? Like, why would you give them your business? But then
But their angle was slightly different. It was like, well, why would you go back into the restaurant? Because they might have done something to your food.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Now, I get that.
Well, that's pretty fucked up.
Yeah, and don't believe me. Well, given what the conversation we just had, my mind did go there.
Yeah, my mind did go there.
You're talking to the preached. You're preaching to the converted here, right? I did go down that route, but I don't know the overwhelming desire for me not to let him have the satisfaction of not allowing me in his restaurant was more powerful than getting a bit of food poisoning. Now, if I died. Then,
it wasn't necessarily food poison I'd worry about, because I don't think they'd do that, but it's just more like, putting your piece of bread down their balls and you're eating bread with ball sweat. But then you don't know.
You don't know.
You don't know.
You don't know. I mean, how many times, there were stories about this when people used to work at McDonald's, friends used to work at McDonald's, and they used to spit in burgers all the time. Like, that was just what kids did. And
it is true when you think about it.
I'm sure people have...
What you don't know don't hurt you.
Yeah, exactly. So, yes, there was the element of, like, they could have poisoned my food and it could have been a disastrous, an end to a holiday. But my response to those comments was that, look, I hear you, and each to their own. I get you, but for me, if I'd walked out, then they would have won. Right?
Yes, it is true.
And then people were like, well, what they're going to win? I was like, well, they're going to win the satisfaction of, or it's validation. Well, it's validation from them. They have a point of view that they don't like someone who has a certain skin color. So if I say to them there's no tables, I will get the satisfaction of not letting them eat in my restaurant.
Yeah.
And then by me walking out is validation for their behaviour. Oh, look, that worked. I said to this person who I don't like that you can't come into my restaurant because there's no tables, and they left my restaurant. Yes, I got what I wanted. And I just didn't want that person to get that satisfaction.
But also,
and I wanted to see his face.
Yeah,
and I wanted to see his face when I walked in with a reservation, brown skin, with my posh voice, and my name of John, and see his reaction. And it was worth it. And for the record, I didn't get food poisoning. We were fine. The food was amazing. The food was amazing. It was a schnitzel. It was an amazing schnitzel.
Did you put a review and say the food was amazing, but they're blatantly racist? Don't let the fuckers get away with this.
I think I did put a review about that, actually. You're right. I think I was doing it in the restaurant while I was eating.
I feel, obviously I can't say because I've never been in this position, but I feel like also I'd maybe want to talk to him and say, why? Like, what is your problem?
Oh, that's...
Like, don't you want to... Does any part of you ever want to talk to racist people and ask them why? Do you know what I mean? Like, find out.
Because I already understand why.
Why?
Because that's the environment they've grown up in. Right? That they've grown up in an environment where perhaps they've had something happen to them by people that look like me, and they've just held that against that race of people, right? So that could be a one scenario. I'm not explaining this well. The bottom line is, if I was that person and I'd grown up exactly as that person had and lived that person's life experience, I probably would have been doing the same thing as he. Mm-hmm. In fact, I would have been.
Yeah.
Right? So if you had lived that person's life to that point in time, you would have done exactly the same thing.
That's true compassion, right? Seeing it that way.
And that's what's,
But do you not believe then that if that's the reason that they are behaving the way that they're behaving because of the life that they've been brought up in, by asking and having a conversation with them to kind of almost make them realise, well, why actually am I like this? And could that then lead to a bit of change? Do you see what I'm saying?
Potentially, but I don't think that's my responsibility.
No.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, you're right. I hear what you're saying, and
not your responsibility, but if you were kind of willing to go as far as to really put yourself out there and kind of prove a point, which I think hands down bravest thing ever. But then, you know, could you have taken it a bit further and just asked them what, and maybe actually you'd have gone so far to not only just prove a point, but actually to instill a little bit of a second thought in someone and perhaps change the way that they thought. Or no, absolutely not your responsibility. And do they deserve it? Perhaps not. But with that level of compassion, perhaps that little bit of something could have made them look at themselves and go and just change the trajectory. Is that the word? Of their life, because once one person changes even a tiny bit, then that then will have a knock-on effect and a knock-on effect.
It comes back to the fear of rejection, doesn't it?
What do you mean?
It's like if I had a calm word with this gentleman and said, hey, why, like you said, and he was just blatantly rude again or rejected my advances to do that, then that would have pissed me off, to be honest with you, and I would have not been too pleasant about it. And I don't want to put myself in that situation where I have to then get annoyed or angry or whatever. I'm just like, you know what? I'd rather just it's a good point. I mean, and I would love to get someone like that in a situation like this. Just sit in front of me, microphone's on, camera's on, let's have a chat.
It's really hard because obviously there's no way that I can comment or have a conversation like this, because it's something that I never have or never will experience, and I am obviously so privileged to be able to sit here and say that. But from where you were going from your compassionate point of view, because you were actually saying that the reason that this person was racist is because actually he hasn't known any other way and it's come a generational thing and blah 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 blah, it kind of, I wonder if then the change can come, as in if the more people were educated in this way. Do you know what I mean? Yeah,
no, you're absolutely right. And but for me, it's that, like I said, it's just that fear of being rejected, or fear of knowing that if someone's already doesn't like me for whatever reason, right, then me trying to get them to understand, it's probably not going to be worth it, and it's going to end up pissing me off more. Because I'm just going to be like, these fucking people just don't understand. And why won't they come to the table and just give me a reason
And
why?
there's a lot of hurt there, isn't there? Because at the end of the day, every single time someone is racist towards you, it just brings up and validates the fact that this is something that you've always have and always will have to deal with. And it's just not nice.
I think what I did was...
It was amazing.
Was the best thing. I mean, it's not far off what Rosa Parks did, right? She was told she can't sit on a part of a bus, and she just went to that part of the bus and said, I'm going to sit here, and that's all she did. She didn't get annoyed. She didn't try and educate people, like maybe she has as a result of that, right?
But actually
her action was just no, actually I'm not going to sit over there.
So actually your act would have made that guy think in a way anyway.
Just in that way it would have made him think, oh, this geezer still came back to my restaurant and he ate and he gave me money at the same time, right? Like Rosa Parks, I'm sure she paid her bus fare that day. Right.
So actually, if he's thinking that all brown people are a certain way, and you're proving that actually you can't judge someone just by the colour of their skin.
Clearly he did, because when I called him up, he let me in. So that's the angle. But it's
good for you, Rosa Bias.
Rosa Bias.
Sunjay Parks.
Yeah, so that was that. That was fun. We got a lot of engagement on that post.
But, I do like talking about like big issues and whatever things that are meaningful and important and scary in the world.
What else is scary in the world? Why are we talking about scary things in the world? Let's not talk about scary things in the world.
What else is scary? Rejection. That's scary.
Rejection.
Yeah, rejection is scary, isn't it? That's why we don't do things that we want to do. Why have I still not launched that online course?
I don't know, Lisa. Why have you still not?
Exactly.
What are you scared of?
That no one's going to sign up for it.
That's ridiculous.
Why is it ridiculous?
It's like... Why do you think no one's going to sign up for it?
Because people don't take me seriously, I think. Because I'm a bit stupid and a bit, always taking the piss and always mucking about. I do genuinely believe that actually people are going to find it difficult to pay me for my services. I think I've just hit the nail on the head there. Because I am Do you take me seriously as a person?
Of course I do.
Do you?
Do you think I'm going to spend this many hours with you if I didn't take you seriously?
No, I suppose, good point. But I just genuinely don't think people take me seriously because of...
Okay, let me ask you this question. Do you think there are people who you know who don't know the things that you talk about in that course at all?
People
Are there people that you know who
that
don't know about, because the course is about
appreciation, gratitude,
Right.
and changing your mindset.
right. So do you think there are people
Yeah.
that don't know that stuff?
Well, listen, let's put it this way. I know a lot of people, and I would say a good proportion of those people are definitely living lives that they're not entirely wanting to live without, do you know what I mean? Without throwing boulders. But like I was in a life that I was not happy with. Yeah. There were massive aspects of my life that I definitely did not want and made me unhappy. And I didn't know how to not be doing them anymore.
Okay.
And I see that a lot.
And did the gratitude and appreciation help you to get out of that situation?
Absolutely. 1,000,000%.
So you can relate that there are probably people who are in that situation that you are in right now, right?
Yeah.
Right? So this is where the power of like learning and talking about courses comes in. You don't, I feel like there's a little bit inside of you, and correct me if I'm wrong here, I'm just
please.
spitballing.
This is brilliant.
That you feel like people don't take you seriously because they think you're how comes you're an expert on this? Who are you to tell me what to do, right? When it comes to gratitude and appreciation, what's your qualification? Why should I listen to you?
Do you know what? I don't even think it's that. I think that it's that people don't think there's enough power behind what I'm teaching.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Because actually the whole imposter syndrome thing is gone because I don't know of a more positive expert than me. Around me, I don't know of anyone who knows more about appreciation, gratitude, mindfulness and positivity enough to change their life the way that I have. I don't think there's anyone that I know that does what I do. So it's not that. It's that I don't think people understand the power behind these simple things that I'm trying to teach. I think that's what it is. Like gratitude and appreciation, what, saying thank you? What, actually just finding things to say thank you? That's really going to change my life. Fuck off, Lisa. You're a dick. That's what I think it is. That is what I think it is. I think people think that there's bigger steps that you need to take, more that you have to do. I think that if I just put out this course and say, this is how to teach you how to really do appreciation, and I swear to God it will change around every single one of your relationships and every single thing that you do in your life, and it's this cheap and it's this quick, and if you do it properly this is what will happen. I think people go, don't think so, don't be stupid.
Okay, and you're right, and they will.
That's what it is.
And they will.
That's what it is.
They're not the people that are going to buy your course.
That's true. Who's going to buy my course?
It's the people who are struggling. It's the people who have been where you've been are going to relate with that situation. Oh yeah, I work in a job like Lisa used to work in a job that I fucking hate and I don't like it and I want to get out of it. And oh look, she's now doing what she's doing and I want to be able to do that. It's going to be the person who was where you were at. How long ago we're talking about? A year?
No, longer than that.
2 years?
3
4 years?
4 years.
3, 4 years. Okay, so you're gonna be appealing to the person who's where you were at 4 years ago.
Yeah, this is what
and there are so many of them, because if that person, let me finish this bit because I'm going to train of thought, that's why. That person, let's say they're looking at Lisa's gratitude and appreciation course, and Professor who and so from Harvard and Stanford University in America, who's like a psychology expert on gratitude and appreciation, right? And then they look at that person's course, who's probably charging 10 times more than you are, right? That person's the expert, clearly, when it comes to you versus them. However, when they listen to that person talk, because they're so far ahead and so far advanced, it can come across as overwhelming, right? All the stuff, oh yeah, but you've had years and you're a professor and you're a PhD and whatever you've got, right? Whereas when they look at Lisa, they go, that's Lisa. I see her on the school run. And look at her, she's happy and she's laughing and she's having a good time. And she used to work in a job that was shitty and she didn't like it. And now I want a bit of that. And they're more likely to pull the trigger and spend the few quid. It's not expensive, it's really cheap. I think it is what you're charging. And that's the person that you're going to appeal to, right? So this is something that I've had to I've learned from doing a podcast, right? It's like, well, who's going to listen to? I listen to a lot of podcasts. So the imposter syndrome. It's like, well, I don't know what Rich Roll or Joe Rogan or Stephen or Bartlett or whoever these people. I'm not an authority like them and can talk about these things. It doesn't matter. It's because it's the people that I've seen who know me or come across me, whether it's from my health coaching role or in my life or as a PT or as a videographer. They're gonna say, well, yeah, I want a bit of that. I want to do what he's doing. It's gonna be those
more
people
relatable.
yes, you're relatable, right? And if you look at, I've taken a lot of online courses, right? And some of the courses are overwhelming. There's just too much. It's like, just not
there yet.
Not there yet, right? It's too much. Information is not the problem right now, right? Like you said it earlier, that people think there's something bigger, right? This simple thing of just saying thank you and of being grateful for the things that you have. How's that going to be profound? Well, the problem is there's so much information out there. If you created a course on, before we go back to that, being grateful and appreciative and all of the things that you talk about in your course is going to help you to feel more happy. Is that correct? It's kind of the premise of what we're talking about here. Well, that person will think, in order to be happy, I need X, Y, Z and everything else that comes with it. Whereas actually, when you can distill it down and say, look, information is not the problem, right? You can Google anything and get all the information you want. You can tell you everything you need. If you Google how can I be happy, right? You'll get a gazillion pages, right? You can even chat GPT now and it'll give you instructions, step by step, right? Go do this, right? But information is not the problem because there's information overload.
Yeah.
So what you've done is you've distilled the entire universe of information, right? And through your own experience said, look, this, out of all the bullshit that's out there, this is what you really just need to start with, right? You are not saying, and I've recorded that course for you, so I know exactly what you say on the course. You are not saying that this is the be all and end all, right? This is everything, because it's not, and nothing is, right? But if you start with this, and it is simple, right?
It's so simple.
Really, really simple steps, then it will lead you to where you want to get to. And at that stage, maybe that other course is the right course for you, right?
But if you don't know where to start, this is the perfect...
Yeah, because you're there to distill the information down and and I love this analogy someone used a while ago. It said courses once upon a time were basically... Do you remember the encyclopedias when you were kids? Yeah, the Britannica encyclopedias, right? That was Wikipedia back in the day, right? It's like however many books it was. If you just gave someone a bunch of, here you go.
Yeah.
Here's everything you need to know, right?
It's a lot.
It's a lot. It's like, wow, I'm not going to do that, right? How many times I've watched YouTube videos about editing, right? And I'll be there like an hour-long video on editing and I'm getting into the weeds and I'm like, and I get to my station, I'm like, I can't do that. I've got lost halfway through it, right? But when I watch another video of a geezer who's like maybe got double the amount of subscribers that I've got, and I watch what he did, and I'm like, oh, he just went through the same pain point that I went through recently.
Yeah.
Right? I need to get to where he is right now. I'm going to buy his course, right? And I think that's just how I would frame it. That's how you got to frame it.
It is very helpful. It's right.
So people will buy your course.
Thanks.
They will.
Well, I hope so.
Because
I think this is the other thing is that I forget how I felt back then. I forget. Do you know what I mean? That's the
why
difficult
did you do the course
thing.
in the first place?
Well, exactly. Yeah. Because it changed my life so much. But that's the point, is that I find it hard now to relate to who I'm trying to get to. Do you know what I mean? Because I just forget how I used to be bloody miserable, completely miserable and so anxious. And it's like I've forgotten. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's like I'm such a different person now.
But that's a good thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a really good thing.
That's what you need to sell, is like, look, I'm completely different to what I used to be. And it's because of these little practices that I've done. And I want to share those with you. Yeah,
because I don't want people to be miserable.
No.
I don't want anyone to feel like they have to be stuck in a life that they don't want to be in.
No. And you've got a lot of, like I said, people who are going to be a few steps behind where you are now or where you were a few years. They're the ones that you're going to resonate with, right? It's like I'm launching a course on how to create a podcast.
Yeah, this is so good.
But I'm not an expert on podcasting.
Yeah, but you are. Yeah, but exactly. Yeah, you're right. Exactly. I get it now. You've made it very clear.
Am I?
Yeah, because
so
you've done it.
You've
done it.
You want to get into podcasting, right? Am I more of an expert than you?
Oh God, yeah.
Would you learn off me?
Yeah, but I did learn off you because
Right,
now I've got my own podcast that I just bloody do, and I just flipping do it, and I only do that because of the stuff that I've learned from you.
200 quid, please. Thank you very much.
No.
Did you see what I'm saying? Right? I could have easily, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to package what I've basically taught you and taught Anisha and taught so many, because it's the question I get asked all the time. It's like, out of all the things I do, the question I get asked the most is like, how do you do your podcast? Is amazing. How do you do a podcast? Like, right. It's like about what light you use.
You definitely.
I get those questions more. I'm like, well, I'm just going to put a course out there and
100%.
how to do it. Again, I'm not a fucking expert, right? But I know enough.
What, you are an expert?
Again, in my mind, I'm not. But but now I've convinced myself.
See, in my mind, I am an expert though. That's why I don't think imposter syndrome is my vibe, because I went through a long time. If you think, I haven't done any formal qualifications. Like, to become an accountant, you have to go to university, you have to do this. To become a psychologist, to do a counselling course and all of this. I haven't gone through that way, right? And I thought to myself a long time ago, people are going to sit there and go, well, what qualifies you? And I'm like, do you know what qualifies me? I might not have done an actual course that said, this is a gratitude course, you will be a qualified gratituder and can show. No. I've literally lived, breathed. I've studied probably more than a degree level on mindfulness, meditation, gratitude, mental health, mindset. I've done it over the past 10 years, more than a degree level course. Just because it's not accredited by someone, it doesn't matter, because it's accredited by look at the life I'm leading now compared to what I was doing 6 years ago.
There you go.
That's why. There's no way. You can go through a counselling course and you can train yourself how to be a counsellor, and you can still be living in a life like a shit show.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the difference between other people and me. I haven't signed up and paid for a course and got a qualification and still live in a lie. No.
Those qualifications.
I don't have those imposter things anymore.
It means it's bullshit. It means nothing when we're.
Well, it's just exactly.
It's just a piece of paper, but like you said, you've lived it.
I've lived it. I've breathed it. That's the difference.
You've applied it.
That's exactly right as well.
And you've got the results, right? And it reminds me of, again, just this guy, I've been watching a lot of his videos, and he creates courses, and he talks about his very first course that he created. He went through and did like he did like an architecture degree. He's not an architect, but he did an architecture degree at the time. And when he went through this qualification that you got to do after you become an architect, he did the exam. And then he created a course on how to pass this exam. He had just done the exam, right? He wasn't a freaking expert on this. He just passed the exam, right? He was fresh student. He created a course, he put it online, and this was like many years. To this day, he's still selling that course. And in the interim period, the organization, the governing body that does the exam, they saw that he did this. And, we should do that. So then they put out a course on how to pass their exam. Guess which course has sold more? His, because people are watching, looking at this. Well, this is a geezer who's just gone through it. He's like me. Yeah, he's just gone through it. He knows the pain. The person who's running the course, they don't know the pains and the anxieties.
That's so true.
What I'm feeling when I'm about to do this exam, what I need to know, all these different things. Whereas this guy that's gone through it, he's going to tell me everything. He's going to give me the inside scoop
from the perspective of someone that's gone through it
and passed it.
Absolutely,
and clearly he's very good at
That's the truth. Right? That is the truth, because actually you can go through. You can go straight out of school and start doing psychology degrees and all of this sort of stuff, and actually not really ever have had any mental health issues. Right? Or you can be like me, who suffered with mental health issues for 40 how many years and got yourself through it and trained yourself how to get through it. And then who's going to be able to teach you better how to do it? Someone that's never actually been where you've been, or someone that's been exactly where you've been and can now tell you how to get out of it. Yeah.
One of the biggest podcasters I know, Rich Roll, one of my idols, if you like, or mentors, even though I don't know him personally, but I look to him towards what he's done. He's got no qualifications in mental health and well-being and mindfulness. What else is he talking about? Fitness. He's one of the fittest men in the world. He's never done a qualification on fitness as a triathlete, but he was an alcoholic and a lawyer and was burnt out and overweight and nearly had a heart attack at 39 and turned his life around. And I follow everything he says because I'm like, you've showed me you've done it, right? But I could go to a athlete and get the same information, or whoever else to get the same information. It's not the same. Yeah. Right? And I think there's so much more power especially in the world we live in today where everything's on social media and you can see what people are doing, there's so much more power in actually getting experience, knowledge, information through someone that's just been through it.
Yeah.
Right, who's just gone through it. Another friend of mine, she's been through IVF and surrogacy and that whole kind of trying to get, have kids that way. And she's had cancer and heart failure. And she's putting it into a course, right? Of how you do this process of, if you want to have a kid through IVF or through, she had to freeze her eggs and all these sorts of things. She's going through, because she's been through the pain points, right? You could probably get that information. That information's out there.
Yeah. But actually there's something about following one thing from the beginning to an end and doing it.
And she's not saying, and whoever's doing the course, I'm not saying in my podcast course, this is the only way you should do a podcast. This is the way that I did it. And if you like what I'm putting out there, and I know people do because I get the feedback, then this is just how I did it. And if you want to do it, you can also do it and I'll help you.
Oh my God, I love talking to you. You literally have just motivated me to get out and just bloody do it. Because I didn't want to be an online coach. I thought to myself, I don't want to be an online coach because I like people and I want to do with people. But actually, in the background of all of the other life that I lead, why would I not just record how to do things, how to live a better life, how to go through divorce? I don't think that anyone, I mean, come on, that's got to be a perfect one.
I'm sure there's a lot of single mums out there who heard you talk about being single mums. Because I don't think of single mum life that way, but I'd like to.
Yeah, but people probably,
you could teach them.
Also, people probably look at me and think that I'm married really well and I've got an investment banker husband who bankrolls my shit. I don't get bankrolled any shit. He's extremely supportive in many ways, but that was not the vibe for me. I'm not rolling around. I'm making my own, And literally my ex-husband is like, he just lets himself into my house and builds up my fridge so that when I get back at 2 a.m. with the babies, there's like milk and eggs and stuff. Like, we're like best buds now. And I did this and I did it purposefully and intentionally. And I know how I did it and I want everyone to do it, because why get divorced and be miserable? It's not a vibe. It's not a vibe.
No. It's not. And you know what, going back to what you just said about you didn't want to be an online coach, you can still be that person in front, right? But this is your kind of, this is your way of dipping in. It's the way you're getting attention, right? Because you see, problem with doing things in real life now is getting attention to yourself, right? And this is where social media, podcasts, YouTube, all of these the wonderful tools that we have come into play, right? So you can draw attention to yourself, and then, in the future, this is again just an idea, you might want to just give this course away for free, right? You put it on your website, it's free.
Yeah.
Give me your email address.
Do some free
and
stuff.
Then, if you want to know more, I've got a 5-day retreat, or I've got a 2-day course in person. You come and, like I know you've done these ones before, right? You've done an in-person event.
Yeah.
You can use that course as kind of like the lead magnet, if you like, to get people to
I think I just need to get content, don't I? I just need to just
put it out there.
Stop.
And what you also need is someone to go through that course. This is what you should do. And this, again, I've not made, this is just information. I watched this
You're
video.
making me laugh. You know that comedy course that I just went? Logan Murray is amazing. He literally used to say this. Listen, I'm not telling you what to do. I might be ruining your career here. Every bit of advice he gave was like, I might be ruining your career here, but
it's true though.
Own it.
Yeah, I'm going to own it. What was I about to say?
Sorry.
What you need to do. So find someone that you know that might benefit from your course, who doesn't know all the things that you talk about. Give them a course for free.
Yeah,
right?
I make them do it.
But you make them do it.
This is the thing. I sold it to my mum. I said, Mum, I'll transfer the money. She went, no, don't worry. So my mum's bought the course, but she hasn't done it yet.
But what you need to do is
I need someone.
So it's a 5-day course.
Yeah.
Okay, so every day, get her up, call her on the phone, get on a video call, and take her through that course, whether it's your mum or someone else, right?
Yeah.
Take them through that course step by step. Be there to coach them. And once they actually experience the benefits of that course, then you can use that, because then you've trialed it out, right? You've tried it on yourself. These are all things you've done, but there's more power in
trying it on
the
someone
group, isn't it?
100%.
Your peers. So it's like, okay, well, Lisa's done this. Oh, look, there are a few other people that said they've done this as well. And then just get your mum to write you a testimonial. It's not bullshit. Don't get her to make it up. Like, tell her to tell the truth.
Yeah.
If she says it's
I'm
rubbish,
going to do this
don't put
now.
that out on your website. If she says it's rubbish, don't put that on your website. But you get a testimonial.
I ended up more depressed, if anything.
Yeah, that's not a good advert for your course. And
my God.
And then you've got validation. You got social validation. Social proof.
Do you know what I need in my life? More people like you to talk to about it. That's the other thing, Sunj. It's so hard working on your own, isn't it?
Yeah, I know.
Selling yourself is the hardest thing to do. I can sell other people, no fucking problem. When it comes to selling myself and the stuff that I do, it's so hard. And just having these conversations with you, like, it just makes me feel like, yes, I can do it. Do you know what I mean? It feels more real.
And other people will feel the same way having the conversation with you or going through your course.
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying, right? And you can have that vibe and that experience, or that influence on someone else, and you will, and you do. So
more.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Just
bloody do it.
Like you said at the beginning.
We've gone full circle. Just bloody do it.
Get out there. Just get out there.
Oh my God, this is going to be a good week for me.
It's been a great week because you got no kids.
My social schedule is healthy. And my work schedule and my motivation. I feel very motivated now.
Good. Start thinking about your next course.
Yeah, but I mean, I could do a course in anything. What am I an expert on?
You don't have to be an expert, remember?
That's true.
I think the divorce one's genius. Like, I don't know if there's
how to get divorced,
how to get through, survive divorce, or there's a play there, isn't there? There's definitely something there.
There definitely is, because it's not easy, but it absolutely can be done.
Again, I'm sure if I Google it, how do I cope with divorce? And there's
but it won't. I don't think there's a lot of people doing it the way that I've done it.
Fine.
I don't think there's anything out there.
No one has done it the way you've done it, Lisa, because it's you. You're you. So again, it's like saying that, like that racist. If I lived his exact life, I would have been the same.
Yeah, it's
right.
True.
So no one's going to live your life and you in your shoes. So it's going to be.
I think the divorce one needs to come, and then how I can advertise it is I'll get Paul on a podcast, Paul and Miranda and me.
That would be amazing.
Do you think I can pull it off?
What, actually having you sitting there with your ex-husband and his soon-to-be wife?
Yeah.
Talking about how you're...
how our dynamic works.
I think people would
love that.
Of course they would. Who doesn't want to be privy to a conversation between an ex-wife and a husband and his new wife?
Do you know what? Because Paul is getting a little bit... There's little baby steps every time. It's been nearly 4 years now. And now he never used to even like being around me or spending time with me, even though we were getting on, like everything was good, but there was still a level of he didn't want to be around me. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I'm not watching that. What I don't want to know what you're doing with your life, right? Now he actually watched my 5-minute comedy set and said it was really good. I nearly fell off my chair. I was like, you actually sat down and watched your ex-wife do it. Like, that he's over it. Do you know what I mean? And the other day I said to him, I've done a podcast and I did speak a little bit about the divorce and stuff like that. So do you want to listen to it before I put it out? Because I just want you to know. And he went, no, I know you're not going to say anything horrible about me. I trust you. Like, no, go for it. Right?
Amazing. That's amazing.
It's my ex-husband, ladies and gentlemen.
Again, how many people would want an ex-husband like that?
It is good, mate. It is amazing, to be fair. Yeah, all right, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a course on how to be divorced and then get Paul Miranda on a podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, amazing.
I mean, let's make it happen.
Let's do it.